Hi, this is Stacy from Porta1. PortaSwitch Maintenance Release 128 is now available. It helps you reduce billing disputes by showing customers both actual and charged call durations. Lets your customers view a single, complete recording for transfer or other complex calls. Allows you to protect your system by allowing access from trusted IP addresses and blocking all others with one set of rules and more. Let's look at what's new one by one. When calls are billed in increments, the charge duration can differ from the actual call duration. Customers who reconcile billed calls with their own logs need both values. With MR128, you can choose which call duration fields appear in customer CDRs, in the self-care portal, in on-demand CSV downloads, and in end-of-period CSV reports. You can choose whether to show actual duration, charge duration, connect and disconnect time. For example, let's say our telecom bills in 60-second increments for ABC company, a customer that matches billed calls against its internal PBX logs. The All Telecom admin enables both actual duration and charge duration fields. ABC company sees actual duration, say 3 minutes 47 seconds, and charge duration of 4 minutes for every call. Other customers with a standard setup can see only the charge duration in the self-care portal and in CSV files. This gives each customer the level of detail they need to verify charges accurately and reduces billing disputes. Starting with MR128, PortaSwitch automatically merges call paths in a single recording file per call. Users access it from the self-care portal or receive it by email. Transcriptions follow the same logic, one transcript per call. For example, John calls the sales team to clarify contract details. Sarah answers and transfers the call to Mike for pricing. After the call, John opens a single recording and reviews the full conversation, including the parts handled by Sarah and Mike. Your engineering team can now allow access to PortaSwitch servers only from trusted IP addresses and block all other connections by default. Access rules are configured centrally in one web interface and apply to selected servers and services, such as SSH or web access. Previously, engineers could only block specific IPs system-wide. Other rules required manual firewall configuration on each server via the command line. Now, engineers can create access rules by defining where a connection comes from and what it can or cannot access, a specific server or group of servers, a specific service, such as MySQL database. Access from trusted locations is permitted using allow rules. To block everything else, engineers add a deny all rule. For example, our telecom needs to restrict SSH access for its server subnet. The engineer allows connections from the office network and a remote admin's IP and blocks all other SSH connections on that subnet, all from one interface with no per-server firewall work. Password expiration improves web portal security, but it can interrupt mobile apps such as a self-care app or soft phone that use the portable API and do not have password recovery functionality. For example, a user logs into a soft phone with a one-time password. If their regular account password later expires, the app loses its API connection. Inbound calls may not be delivered, and the only fix is a password change. Built-in that flow in a custom app takes extra development effort, and if the user changes the password in another app, such as the web portal, they still have to log back into the soft phone, which is frustrating. MR128 solved this with API token-based authentication for accounts. An API token is a persistent credential stored on the account in portability. It can be used instead of a password for authentication via the API and is not affected by password expiration. This means less effort for developers. They no longer need to implement a password change flow when building a mobile app. When a user logs in, they enter their login and one-time password as usual. Behind the scenes, the app automatically includes the API token stored on their account in the authentication request sent to Portabilling. If the credentials are valid, Portabilling establishes a session, and that session stays valid even after the account password expires. Users are prompted to change their password on the web portal, but the app keeps working without interruption. Some companies use separate phone numbers for different departments, product lines, or marketing campaigns, and forward incoming calls to a single auto attendant. When a call forwarded to the auto attendant reaches an operator, they need to know which department, product, or campaign the call is for, so they can respond in the right context without asking. With MR128, the name associated with the call number, such as department or product name, is displayed alongside the caller's number to the operator. For example, ABC Company uses separate numbers for two product lines, Smart Home and Smart Office. Calls to both numbers are forwarded to a shared auto attendant. A prospect calls the Smart Home number. After hearing the auto attendant prompt, they press 0 to reach an operator. The operator sees the caller's number and the label Smart Home and answers with the right product greeting straight away. No clarification needed. When a subscription is cancelled, it normally remains active until the next system processing cycle. With MR128, admins can immediately close subscriptions activated on the same day. This allows them to correct assignment mistakes right away, avoid charges for that day, and reassign the subscription as part of the correct product without waiting. For example, an admin assigned the rental equipment subscription directly to a customer account, then realizes it should have been included via the home internet add-on instead. The admin clicks Close Subscription. The subscription closes immediately with no charge for that day, and the admin can assign the home internet add-on product without conflict. The Phones CPEs page, where admins manage IP phones and CPE profiles, which are pre-configured sets of basic settings used for auto-provisioning, has been redesigned to reduce the time it takes to find and update these records. IP phones and profiles are now in 2 tabs on a single page. Such parameters move to a single row at the top, so more columns fit on screen. Less used parameters are grouped under Raw Menu. CPE profiles that customers can use to self-provision their own IP phones is now accessible directly from the toolbar, no extra navigation required. A phone record now shows all parameters on one page, organized into sections. And the audit log is now available on the phone's CPEs page, allowing admins to view the changes made to devices and profiles. Those are the highlights for PortaSwitch Maintenance Release 128. For a more detailed description of these features and enhancements, see the link in the video description below. Thanks for watching and see you in the next release.